Crafters, it's me, Jen Evers with Quality Crafts, and today I have a really fun box for you. Now, boxes are usually boring, and I know you've seen them all, but this one opens in a different way, and I found it on Dawn's Stamping Thoughts. She's on YouTube, and she's also at dawnstampingthoughts.net. So let's get down to the desk and let me show you this really cool box. I know for me, it's easiest if I see the finished product first, so this is what we're aiming for. Isn't that cool? So you can put anything on the outside you want. I'm just going to show you how to create the box and then the dimensions for the top and the side pieces. And then also one piece that you can put on the inside. So let's get started. For those of you who have been crafting for a while and you just want all of the measurements in one easy spot and the directions, it's all right here. Go ahead and pause the video and write them down and you'll have them all together so you won't have to search through the video again. And now for those of you who are very visual, I'm going to walk you through these pieces. You're going to need one piece 8.5 by 7 1/4, and it's going to be scored on all four sides at 1.5 inches. You're going to need two pieces that are 7 3/8 by 4 1/4, and 3 of the sides are going to be scored at 1.5 inches. And then for decorating, you need two pieces that are 5 1/4 by 4, two pieces that are 4 1/8 by 2 1/2, two longer pieces that are 4 by 1 1/4, and 4 little pieces here that are 2 1/2 by 1 1/4. I went ahead and ran everything through my Cuttlebug. I used this die by Darice. It doesn't have a name on it. I should say this embossing folder, excuse me. And then I went ahead and used a brayer. I rolled it over my ink and brayered the color onto these pieces so that you can see that darker color as a contrast. And then I went ahead and rubbed it on my little felt piece and inked up all the edges so that they were darker, so that when I put these on my box, they'll really stand out. All your pieces together, we're going to make the tabs of the box so that we can glue it all together. We're going to cut these two pieces going up just to that first score line, and then turn it around and cut those two score lines just up to the fold line. Okay, and then just to make this easier, we're going to cut off a little corner going diagonal on both sides. It'll make your box easier to put together. Especially on the top here, because if it doesn't line up exactly, you won't have any of that funny little overhang. I'm going to do the same on here. And then these two pieces that we have left, same thing on this side. We're cutting up to the fold line, and you'll know exactly where to cut because we're only cutting up on the side that actually had that fold here. The other side doesn't have the fold. So I'm going to show you again on this one. We're going to cut from the bottom. We're only cutting on these little squares here, just up to the fold line, one on each side. And then go ahead and cut the tabs into these as well. The next step is gluing our box pieces together. I use these little bottles that have this very fine tip. All I do is put in some Aleene's tacky glue and add a little water. We're going to put glue on the back side of all 4 of these tabs. So since this takes just a little while to dry, I'm going to go ahead and add the glue on all 4 of these tabs, making sure to get close to the edge so that the box doesn't come apart and that nothing's sticking up. And then depending on how experienced you are creating boxes, you can take just 1 tab at a time, or you can fold up multiple tabs. It just depends on your comfort zone and how fast your glue dries, and if you're using a wet glue versus a tape or a dry glue. And then on these 2 pieces right here, we're going to fold those 2 tabs up and do the same thing on each. When you're all done gluing, you should have 3 pieces that look like this. You have the base of the box here, and then you have the 2 pieces that are going to come up over the top like this. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take washi tape and we're going to create these 2 hinges. You don't want to do this before you decorate, unlike I did on this one, so that when you put your side panels and your bottom panel on, it'll cover up most of this tape. Well, since I don't have a tape that's going to match my project exactly, I just picked one that's kind of black here. And we're going to flip this over. And on each side of the box where these 2 pieces come together here, this is where we're going to put our washi. So I'm going to turn it towards myself. Get my washi started, and I'm going to put it on that edge, about half on and half off. If you push on the edge like this, you can kind of see what's hanging off. So if you're not happy with your placement, you can peel it back off, put it back down. That looks a little bit straighter to me. And then cut off each of the edges of the washi as close to the edge of the box as you can. Flip it around and do the same thing on the other side. I think this hinge is just such a cool idea. I wish I had thought of it. Was not my idea though. So we're going to flip it over, put this back down. I like to flip it all the way over and then give it a good crease so that it gets as close in as you can get. Because you know washi will come off, but once we put that other piece on, we shouldn't have any problems. Put that other one on. Push them together as close as they're going to go. And then I just burnish it with my fingernails and my fingers just so that it stays in place. And then flip it over and your box should flip open like that. Awesome. So now I'm going to go ahead and take my pieces and I'm going to put it on fast forward, and we're going to put it all together. all the pieces on the box, and I went ahead and just pop dotted mine up. I use a roll of this dimensional tape. I didn't pop up the top ones or the one on the inside or the bottom for, you know, obvious reasons. But this one I will. Now, if you like the look of this, I showed you how to do this in a previous video. It'll be linked below. And you figure out which half of the box you want it to lift up with. And then you put tape just on that half of the box. And I'm going to do that here. And I'm going to use this dimensional tape here. And I'm just kind of eyeballing it up here. I'm just going to put 2 strips on, a little bit spaced apart, just so that it's on this right half. And that's going to go on this side. So you see that? It's going to just stick to this side. And then I'm going to center it as best I can and just push it on. So that is the end of making that box. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and share the video. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys next video.